Hey there, folks. Well, welcome back to this old tractor. I'm Marshall, and today we're going to feature a tractor right here that I put a whole lot of work into. Repainted the whole thing. Of course, I'll tell you about the story about that here in just a little bit. But I'm going to tell you what it is. This right here is a 1955 Farmall 300 tractor with a live PTO, a TA, torque amplifier, and live hydraulics. So this thing is pretty optioned up. It's pretty good stuff. I mean, you'd have to go for a long way to find one that's as good as this. So we're going to talk about this tractor. And I also found a need. You know, you look up videos on YouTube and everything, and people shows H's and stuff like that, and Cubs and all that. But I haven't found one video showing a detailed example of a 300, how the wiring is, how the controls is supposed to be, and stuff like that. And whenever I was restoring this tractor, the only thing I had to go by was just how everything was. This tractor was all original when I got it. There wasn't no paint on it. It was all rusty and everything. And I had to just take everything apart. I took pictures of it, and I put it back together the exact way that I think it should have been, or it was from the factory. And changed some things, done a little wiring work. Most of the wiring's original, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But added this toolbox. And if you look down there on the ground, I'm putting wheel weights on it too. I bought me a set of wheel weights. If you look at another video of me painting wheel weights and I had them hanging up on a board, well, that's what they're going on, is this 300 right here. So I'll show you the bolts and the wheel weights and show you where they go and stuff like that. And also I'm going to show you how to turn them. Because there's a certain way they go, folks. They can go two ways, and one way is not right. So I'm going to show you which way they go and everything, and show you the wiring and all the stuff. And I put a lot of work in this tractor and tried to detail it and everything, and tried to make it look as good as I could make it look. So without further ado, Farmall 300. Let's get at it. We got to look at this thing right here. Man, it's a good looking tractor. All right. This right here, I restored the whole thing. I painted it up and redone everything. And yet, even though I redone everything, everything is original, believe it or not. So all these screws that's in the side of it, they're all original, and I sandblasted them, painted them. That's cast iron gray Duplicolor, and that's ceramic paint, because you're just putting a screwdriver in there, screwing on it, and I want it to be tough. So that's all ceramic paint and all the screws and everything. These are all the original badges. I took them off. You can see my reflection. I took them off, cleaned them up, and put them back on. There's no new badges on this tractor. They're all original, all the way down to everything. I put me a new spring in there. It was broke. This is your TA lever, so I had to buy me a new spring and put it in there. But I mean, look at this. Whenever I got this tractor, you see this wiring? This is the original loom wiring that come on it brand new in 1955. This is all original wiring, folks. And there ain't nothing wrong with it. It's not hacked up. It was broke right here, and I had to fix it right here and everything. On the other side, I had to put another terminal connector on there. But other than that, I mean, all the wiring is basically original, and that blew me away that all this would be original, all the wiring going to the lights and everything, and the generator and the starter and everything. But sure enough, it is. And I'm going to show you some things right here, and because there ain't no videos of a 300 in detail. So if anybody's restoring a 300 and wants to know what a 300 looks like, this is the best example I think that there is. So I'm going to show you the front right here, and see I detailed the bolts. This is supposed to be all red, and I done some detail work because I'm one of them guys that likes detail. And these is where your stickers go. Gasoline goes up there. I've got my international muffler on there. Oh yeah. And original carburetor. And I will say, if you have a 300, this tube right here is supposed to be rubber. Well, the tube on this one was gone, and I didn't want to put a rubber tube back. I want it to be metal like an H or an M. So you go on, the internet or something like that, or a junkyard if you have one, and you get a pipe that goes on an M. This went on an M, Farmall. And you have to modify it a little bit. Your breather up here, you have to have a spacer to make it bigger, because the diameter of the metal pipe is bigger than the diameter in the breather. So I had to get me a sleeve to make it like a 1/8 inch bigger or something like that. I can't remember now, but it's a sleeve where you had to make it bigger for your other rubber to slide on there for it to be the same size for your metal. And then it was also a little bit too long, and I had to cut it off right here and make it just a little bit shorter. That way this would fit on there. But it can be done, and I like this metal pipe a whole lot better than a rubber pipe. I think it looks better and everything. So I put it on there. This right here is your choke cable. You know, H's and M's and stuff had a rod. This has a cable that goes up into the dash. Right there's the bracket how it goes, and see it turns and kind of makes like almost a 90, but it swoops, see? And it goes up under the hood, and then it goes up over, it bends right here and goes up over the gas tank and comes in right here, and your choke lever is right here. I think that's how the factory mounted it. So if anybody wants to know where to mount that, right there I think's how it went. It's got your remotes and everything. There's your decal for your seasonal disconnect. And what seasonal disconnect is now is if you don't want, like, your PTO pump. If your PTO is off, since it's hydraulic, it's always bypassing and it has a whine. Well, if you're using this thing and you don't want to hear that whine and don't want it bypassing all the time, there's a little plate down here on the bottom of it, and I'll show you right here. See this little plate, and there's a bolt right there. You take that bolt out and flip that thing over, and it'll disconnect it, and it'll turn the pump off, or it'll disengage it, I believe, and it won't make it whine. So if you want to use PTO, you got to turn that back on, and that keeps it from bypassing. It makes it quieter and stuff like that. If you're using your PTO, that needs to be on. This right here is all your TA linkage. This tractor had TA, and they had live PTO, live hydraulics, and they had a fast hitch. Now this one does not have a fast hitch. That's one of the options it does not have, but it has 3 of the 4 options that it could have had when it come from International. And I've got a regular drawbar, and if I find a fast hitch, I may put it on there, but I'm content with a regular drawbar, because you can hook a hay bind, a small baler if you've got a small baler, you know, you can hook by anything you want to it if you got, you know, live power and live hydraulics. It's pretty handy to have, I'll tell you. It's pretty nice. But if we'll go around in the front here, this is all the original stuff, and I painted this black to give it detail and everything and put it all on there, and that's all the original badges. New screen, and I painted it black to make it pop. The scheme on this thing is black and red, and I think it looks very good. And then all the bolts is silver. There's where your be careful for your radiator goes, your cooling system. And this right here is for a ball or a trailer. If you want to move a trailer, you can put your ball in there, or just put your pin in a clevis or something. You can back trailers around. And it was dented right here. This whole part right here was caved in. And me and my daddy knocked this out with a hammer. We worked on this and we got it as smooth as possible. And I put just a little bit of filler in there. That way it'd make it smooth and everything. And we knocked it back out. See, that made the body line around here match this side. It's right. And this right here was all beat up, and we fixed all that, and I filled it in and everything, and took a wood block and knocked it out the best we could, you know, and I think it turned out very, very well. And the metal on this thing wasn't bad. You know, usually the thing is the metal's beat up, but the metal on this tractor was actually very good shape when I got it. It just didn't have no paint on it. You know, it was all bare metal, rusty. And it was rusted out right here. I welded it up right here and fixed everything right here, and redone the lip and everything, and just stuff that needed to be fixed. But you know, it was good shape overall. It just had little problems, and I worked through it and fixed them and everything. And now we'll go over to the distributor side right here. You can see it does have an International distributor, and this right here I believe is a Thompson live hydraulic pump. There was 2 different types of pumps, or 3 of this thing. It was a Thompson, and the other 2 I can't remember. But you can look them up. I think this is a Thompson. I rebuilt this pump. It was leaking. So I rebuilt it and fixed the lines. They was split right here. This is very common. They split right here, and we fixed all that. Metal lines. You know, some of them's got rubber. This is all metal lines, man, going back there to the back. Got a belt pulley on it. It's a very good shape and everything. And toolbox, I added this to make it pop, sticker. But that's original toolbox. Oil filter. It does have a tack. That was another option. And this tractor's only got 3,000 and something hours on it. And when I got it, the tack was working. And I put me a new tack cable on there because whenever I was wire brushing the old tack cable, it broke. But it was working, and that is accurate hours, I do believe. 3,000 hours on this thing. So it's very low hours. And, well, lower, I mean, like, you know, I imagine most of them probably had 10, 15,000 hours on them, but 3,000's really low, actually, I think. So, you know, put that on there and fixed all that, new cable and everything, and I did, the serial number tag was all beat up on this thing. Made me a brand new tag, put the brass rivets back. I stamped all that in there by hand. You know, McCormick Farmall 300, there's the serial number, and it's got a Rockford clutch and all that. The one thing I'm not sure of is I could not find RPMs, max RPM, idle speed, at no load. You know, H's is 1,815. And I was reading up on the internet and everything because I couldn't find any information. And according to the internet and all that, it said 1,925 was max RPM at no load with it wide open. So I've heard stuff about 1,925, 1,815 like a H, 1,900. So I wish I'd left that bare until I found out 100% what the RPM was. But I went ahead and stamped it in there anyway. Of what I could find, the majority said 1,925. So whatever the case may be, that's what it is, and it looks good, and it'll be all right. So I got all that fixed on there. If you notice, I put me a new sediment bowl, but it's got all the original copper lines going to it right here. Right there's your tack cable, how it's run. I think that's how the factory run it. There's a bracket right there. See, it runs right up and goes under the hood and goes right to the tack. It's up there. It's got all remotes on it, original gas lines and everything. This is a keyed start and all that good stuff. And then I'll show you around here. It's got 4 5/8 sealed beam lights. They all work, 6 volt. And right there's the rims. It's got the bolt-on rims, which I think is better than the clamp-ons. And right here's where my wheel weights is going. And I'll tell you right here. See these bolts right here? These bolts right here, you take them loose, and that lets that clevis thing loose, and you can move your center on the axle. Well, a lot of the guys, them wheel weights is notched a certain way to where that when you bolt them on there, you can get a wrench in there and loosen that bolt right there. Well, some people, they've got them bolted on one too much, you know, one the wrong way, and the skinny side is on the bolts, and you can barely get a wrench on there. So you have to turn that the right way. That way it looks right, and it'd be right for on there. But my wheel weights is going to go on there. It did have fenders. Right here's the drawbar and the rear end of the tractor. These is all original. These are old Pioneer connectors. Them's the original rubbers that goes on there, and the original chains that goes in there. This is the original red jewel lens light. I'll turn it on right here, and you can have a look at it. See, right there's plain. There's your red jewel. It all works. The amp gauge works. All this is complete. This is your live PTO, and it's all there. The shield is there. I rebuilt the whole drawbar, fixed it, tightened everything up. It's tight as can be now. Redone this. This was wore out, and we welded this up and retrued that and put a ball on there and made that right. So it's got the deluxe roller drawbar on it, and you know, live PTO. That's a good option to have if you're bailing or something like that. Brand new seat. But it does have the original international base. Now, if you buy aftermarket base, it does not have this IH stamp right here. That's the original base that come on it, and it's also the battery box. It wasn't rusted out. It's immaculate shape. It's even got the original plug for the lights on it, like a trailer light or something like that, or power to a baler or something. All that works. It's all there. There's where your 6-volt electrical system goes, and your hitch only to drawbar, and I added this. You got to have that. But that's where that goes. And that's the tractor right here. And here it is from this side. Let me show you the regulator. Regulator and the starter. That's the original starter, Delco starter. This is still 6 volt. I think if you had a 350 or a 450, I think the 50s, they was 12 volt. Because they made this model from 54 to 56. Then they come out with the 350, and they made them from like 56 to 58 or 59, something like that. And that's when they come out with the 560 and all that, you know, and the series like that. But I like this style better. This is the last of the Raymond Loewy styling, the one that designed the sheet metal on these things. And I'll tell you, man, I think these things is slick. I mean, you can't get no better than a tractor like it. I mean, come on, man. Thing looks like the crown jewel coming at you. So all that's good. Original radiator. I will say the vent tube that's on the radiator, it was broke off, and I didn't like the way it was run. It was interfering with the fan and stuff in here, so we cut it off up here and run me a rubber hose down through here, and it comes out right here, and I think that's better. See, it makes the water go out of here instead of coming all over your frame and everywhere. So that's the vent. You know, if it overflows, it goes out right there. This is a pressurized system. Like an H or something like that, you know, it'll have a piece of metal right here that connects your top from your bottom. Well, on 300s, there's all rubber, and that's a new hose, and upper hose is new. Rebuilt the water pump. It was wore out, put new bearings in it. I just fixed everything that needed to be fixed to make it a good tractor. Rebuilt all the clutch mechanism, the shaft, took it off, welded it up, fixed it, made the pedals as tight as they could be. Fixed everything, put new bushings, you know, in there, put a bigger bolt, machined it to where it'd make the torque amplifier lever tight. And just anything about it that needed to be fixed. Rebuilt the steering, all new bushings in the steering. Up there, down there, there's a joint right here. I mean, everything that was needed to be fixed, we've done our best to fix it and make it feel like it was new, because that's the thing about it, is making it feel like a new tractor, you know. So now we're going to get up here on the operator platform, and we're going to, hey, regulators, mount up, boys. Woo! We're going to get up on this thing here, in this luxurious machine here. Now, this is the first time that I think I've seen a video where that somebody has done a aerial view of the controls. So I'm going to tell you about everything on this thing, because most people, if you look them up, you can't see the dash. And this is the thing of beauty right here, folks. So we got to look at this dash. Right here is your torque amplifier. It's off right now. 10-speed transmission if you have your torque amplifier. And you got 5 forward, and then if you pull it back, it's essentially automatically drops you about half a gear or something like that. And I don't know the ratios of the gears and everything. You'd have to look at it in the manual and everything. But let me tell you, this thing is handy, man. You ain't even got to clutch it. And you're bogging down, you need power, pull her back. Oh, well, I'm going down the road now. You just do it like that, and you're ready to go, man. It automatically shifts, and this torque amplifier works really good. It works immaculately, and don't slip or nothing. It's good shape. That's your torque amplifier. Here's your live PTO right here. So you push on that right there, and then that lets your lever off. And now we'd be on right now, and then the forward position is off. So that's handy to have. This right here is the original factory tach. I added this sticker, by the way, you know, but you gotta have that. That sticker is supposed to be, that's original. This is the original right here, off, dim, and bright, because it's a voltage regulator system. All that's right. This tractor had a cigarette lighter. Yeah, you heard me right. It has a cigarette lighter. These tractors had cigarette lighters. I guess that was a thing of luxury. This one had one in it. I'll tell you a quick story about that. The one that was in it was all broke and rusted out and everything. And my neighbor over here, he had a Mustang. And he gave me that thing. This come out of a 69 Mustang. But it wasn't a Mach 1. If you had a Mach 1, this middle right here would be silver. This is a regular Mustang because it's black right there. But this come out of a 69 Mustang. And I stuck it in there, and it fit right in there perfect and looks like it's supposed to be there. But that's how it goes. But I don't have it wired up, though, because I ain't going to use it or nothing, you know. And it's 6 volts, so you can't plug your phone up into it. So it's just for looks. But whenever I got it, there was no wire from the harness coming up here to it. So I don't know where this thing is supposed to plug in at, because there wasn't no wire. So I just put it back like it come when I got it, and that's the way it is. But this is your steering wheel. These had the fancy, I call it an acorn nut in the top of it. You know, some of them had a regular flat nut, just had the fancy nut with the dome on it. I think this is one of the greatest things they ever come up with. Like, this is a factory IH throttle, and if your washer gets wore out, you can just change your washer. But this right here won't slip like the old T style, the old H's and M's that get wore out and you put M and W on there. This right here won't get wore out, and if it does, you just change your washer. That's a nice throttle. That don't slip. I mean, that's handy to have. So I like that throttle. And right here's your choke. In is off, pull it, and it's on, and push it back in. This is your fuse for your lights. Your original light switch, that's your original knob. Oh, by the way, all these gauges are original. I did not buy them new. These come in at brand new. And I took them out, cleaned every one of them, repainted the back of them. But the faces are just like they come brand new. I mean, they are immaculate shape. That's how they're supposed to be in the bezels. Right there's where your sticker goes for your shifter. If you turn your switch on, it has a dash light that comes on. You can't see it now because it's daylight, but if it's dark, that dash light would come on and illuminate that right there. There's a little bulb up in here, and you turn it and it lets your dash up. That's a neat option. Keyed ignition. That right there, I think, turns your power on. It's like auxiliary, like a car. Turn it that way, it don't turn power to your points. If you turn it this way, you'll see your amp gauge drop, and see that puts power to your points. And of course, your keyed ignition, turn it, it starts it. I assume anyway that this is auxiliary. It has a notch. I haven't tried it. It won't start this way though, so I haven't tested it. You know, it might have power going to the coil. I don't know. I just assume that's auxiliary, but I do know that you turn it this way and you got power to your points, and you turn it and it starts. You know. So that's all that stuff. We put little fancy little things on the screws that goes on there, you know, to make the screws better. This dash was gray. When I got it, it had a gray tinge. So I painted it back gray. I think that's how it's supposed to look from the factory. And you got your remotes right here for your dual hydraulics, for your remotes back there. You know, one of them works each one and everything. Well, this one works, I think, the rear, and this one works the fronts, or vice versa. One of them works the front, one of them works the rear. You know, so you can have independent power. If you got something in the front or in the back, you can work them independently. And that you know, your lights and everything, dim and bright. This right here is an original tank. I restored it. Whenever I got it, this was orange, so I painted it back orange like it was, I think, how it come. It had a little orange on it, so I've sanded it, painted it back orange, painted the bezel that cast iron gray, and painted the base cast iron gray, and then painted the screws and everything and put it back in there. But I think that's how it's supposed to look from the factory, and that is the original dial, and there's original hours that's on it. And I left it like it was originally because it's really good shape. But that right there, folks, is a video of a Farmall 300 in detail, I think, the first time on YouTube. So a lot of you guys, maybe this will be a help to somebody on these old Farmall 300s. I mean, they're wonderful tractors. You know what? Let me just show you the battery on this thing. I'm going to show you how this right here, I'm also going to show you the seat before we go, too. If you're sitting down and you want to stand up and you get tired of sitting, this has got the fancy seat with the hinges. You just flop her back like that, man, and let her sit just like that, and you can stand up while you're riding this thing. And if you get tired and want to sit back down, you just pop her back down and you're ready to go. Got me a new seat cover. Spring is in there, and you can also adjust your length of your seat. See this little flipper lever right here? If you flop that lever back, it has a little pin in there, and it lifts that pin up, and you can slide your seat on rails and get your exact height. And I have this back as far as it'll go, I think, because I'm long-legged, you know, and I need extra room, so I've got it all the way back. That right there is how you adjust your seat and everything backwards and forwards. And then this right here is your vent for your PTO. And then your fill is right here. You fill it till it comes out of that hole, and right there's your drain. And I had to put all new seals and everything. This thing leaked everywhere when I got it, man. I put all new seals about everywhere it needed, new axle seals. I mean, I done a lot of work to this thing to make it where it didn't leak and make it where it's good shape. But it paid off now. It's a beautiful tractor, and I just like it. And I'm going to start it here in just a second, let you hear it, and then we'll sign off and everything. But right here's the battery box. I'm going to go ahead and take these screws out, and I'll show you this. Might as well. I'll take these screws out right here, because there ain't no video on the internet, man, showing a 300, man. So, and you might as well get the whole thing. This might be one of the only 300s that I know of, except maybe one or two more. It's in this part of the county and everything. They're kind of rare down here. Right there's your battery, and right there's the inside of your box, and your cables run down through there, and I've got me a mat in there, and that's where your battery goes. It could probably fit a bigger battery, but I've got the smallest, cheapest one in there, and it starts it fine. So we're gonna put that back like that. Let me hold this right here while I put my bolts back in this thing right here. Screw them back in there, just like that right there. There we go. This right here is your belt pulley engagement. You know, all them brackets is original. That's how they're supposed to go. And the bolts in the seat is back tight now, so we're in good shape on that. And let me show you this right here. This right here has the fancy brake locking system. Grab a hold of it and pull it. It automatically locks your brakes. You ain't got to bend down and do it. That's kind of a rare option. If you buy that, that'll cost you a pretty penny. But all that works, and it's rebuilt and everything. And take you around here. What was I going to show you? I was going to show you something. I can't even remember now because I was talking so much. Well, it don't matter. I ain't gonna, we're already 24 minutes in, so I'm just going to keep going with the video. But Yeah, all that stuff. There's the battery and all that. And oh, I will show you it run now. I'll start it and everything. Let me tell you one more story and then we'll start the thing. This crank right here was stuck in the bore. And somebody come in here with a torch and literally cut the end of that crank off. And I thought, man, what would somebody do a thing like that for? Well, it was stuck in there. So we took this apart, me and my daddy did, and this right here has got to be longer than an H because they lengthened the front rails. You know, H rails won't work on the 300 and vice versa. So what you got to do is we machined this, and we took an old H one and welded it on to the end of this, I believe. I think. No, I take it back. We didn't do that. What we did was we measured the H one and we made it that much longer and compensated for the lengthened frame. That way it would be the same it's supposed to be. And then we used the H one as a template, and I filed them notches in there by hand with a file and a grinder. With a grinder and a die grinder and all that, and then with an angle grinder, and then the last of it I filed. And made them notches in there to where that the crank would work, because everything needs to work on this thing. So see, if you put your crank in there, it engages just like it's supposed to and goes on the pins, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So that's the story on that. Got the original factory coil that's on it. That's original. It's a very original tractor. So now, without further ado, we're going to start this thing. Make sure she's in neutral right here. All right, here we go. There we go. Choke. I've got the gas turned off, so it's probably gonna run out of gas here in a minute. But anyway, you get the idea though. Let's see, we'll choke it a little bit. There we go. I got the gas turned off, so it'll probably run out here in a second. But that's the idea. I'm going to turn it off. Yeah, I see it died. I had the gas turned off because I didn't want it. I had it sitting down here, so we'll go ahead and push the choke back in. But it runs very good, runs immaculately. That's a detailed view of a Farmall 300. So if anybody needs any information, I hope this video will be a help to you. And appreciate everybody watching. And this right here, that come off a Ford 8N, believe it or not. Looks good on there, don't it? I painted it red and made the mounts and mounted it right on there. I think it looks very catchy. But anyway, put me a toolbox on there and all that good stuff. But that right there, folks, is a in detail view of a Farmall 300. Hope everybody gets help out of this video, and hope it helps somebody for working on one of them, trying to restore it. That's how everything I think is supposed to be. A little bit of history of the tractor and everything. I bought this at auction and everything. Don't know where it was sold new. Don't know, it come up there at Maryville, Tennessee, up here. And I bought it up there and then brought it down here and everything. So it's still in East Tennessee and everything. So I don't know. The guy that bought it new, I tell you, he had a tractor when he bought it new. Because, these things is real tractors. When they made these things, people probably thought, well, you can't get much better than this. And really, you're right. You can't get much better than this. But the only thing that's better on them is you got digital and you got air conditioning. And that's about it. And maybe a cab or something like that. You can use this in about like a modern tractor. It's got the International 169, C169 gas. And got the high compression head and all that, for gasoline and everything. Straight gas burner. I think 6.5 to 1, which is high compression for this time. And it's just a good old tractor. I think, if you look it up on the internet, I think this was like 42 gross horsepower or something like that. It was more than the M. I think an M only had 38, which is still a lot, but this has got a little bit more because it's got higher compression. But I think that's what it's supposed to be. I'd have to look it up in the manual, but it's got really good power, and it's just a good old tractor. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off right here. I hope this was to help somebody. If you don't mind, hit that like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you. Share it with somebody if you like old tractors and everything. And we'll see you next time.